So behind door 1, you have the Yankees buyers. Behind door 2, Yankees sellers. Door 3, retooling. Okay? Which door are they going to choose at the trading deadline this year or leading up to it? So we're only a little bit more than 2 weeks away from the deadline. And my personal opinion is I think the Yankees need to be buyers and sellers at the deadline. They can actually do it. Okay? They have sellable pieces, which would make it easier for them to become buyers for certain trades. Who are the sellable pieces? Well, the obvious one's Aaron Judge. I know it's unpopular, but he's the player on the team who can extract an absolute ransom. His trade, he's on pace again for 45 home runs, 100 plus RBIs, another monster year. The thing to keep in mind is he's going to be a free agent after next season. So the Yankees going to sign him to a big money deal, even if it's 4, 5, 6 years? Are they going to give him, $160 million for 4 years with options after that or something like that and make it 200 plus millions at 31? A team right now would be willing to massively overpay for him, and I would be looking for that team, okay? Because on the buying end, the Yankees right now, I'd be all over. I'd be calling the GM of the Twins for Jose Berrios, the GM of the Reds for Luis Castillo, and the GM of the Marlins for one of their young pitchers. How do they do that? Well, not only with Judge, you can move Judge, you can probably move Voit, you can probably move Gleyber Torres, who's young, he's only 24, he's not a free agent until 2025. He still has an elite bat. Obviously he's been inconsistent this year and struggled, but he still has power. He was hitting bombs in spring training. He can regain his form. And again, he's young and controllable and play teams like that. So you have Voit, you have Torres, you've got Judge. You even have guys like Chad Green. Guys like Jonathan Loaiziger have a lot of trade value. Even Aroldis Chapman, even though his value's down, he had a really good night last night. Well, not a really good night, a good night last night, so he didn't blow the save. But, he might be an attractive option to a team that needs another elite bullpen arm, who might not necessarily have to be the closer. Perfect. He's got a limited no-trade clause now, okay? And it does pertain to teams on the West Coast, so he would have to waive that to go to the West Coast, so there's a little bit of dynamic in there, but I would imagine if a team wanted him and they said, I'll give you an extra year on the back end, they could probably make it happen. So, money talks like that. So, but those guys, these guys can be moved. Can you imagine getting a haul back for Judge, right? And then using some of those prospects to the Twins to go get Jose Berrios, okay? And maybe some of the prospects to the Arizona Diamondbacks to really solidify a deal for Ketel Marte. Because I know Mike Arizona said, we're probably not going to trade Marte. But you're going to say, they just got all these extra prospects. Now they're in a position to maybe blow them away with an offer rather than having to gut their farm system. Because there's no guarantee the Twins or the Diamondbacks or the Pirates or whoever, or the Marlins are in love with the farm of the Yankees now. Okay? Aside from the Martian, there should be nobody that's untouchable. And there are really attractive players there, but it might not represent what these other teams need, which is why the Yankees, be going. I would be talking to the GM, and then talking to the GM. Now, I'm working on a trade with this team. Are there any prospects you like from that team? All right, I'm going to make sure I get him, and I'm going to send him to you because we want Berrios, or we want Luis Castillo. I would be revisiting that Gleyber Torres for Luis Castillo trade right now. That's probably the only trade I would make with Gleyber Torres is getting Luis Castillo back in return. They can call up Hoyjun Park to play second base. You can move Gio to short, and you can keep DJ at third for now. Okay, and if you happen to move Voit, you have Chris Gittens. He's 3 years younger than Voit, okay, and he has just as much team control. And you've seen the right-handed power. But now we've got an extra lefty in the lineup with Hoyjun Park. Okay, we've just gotten a lot better defensively in the infield just by making those moves, and we're all of a sudden able to bring in maybe a Jose Berrios, and potentially, could you imagine bringing in Jose Berrios and Luis Castillo? A whole different ballgame for the pitching rotation. We need guys like that behind Garrett Cole. We need more stability. We can't have Cole and then 2 miles from everybody else. And even though Taillon pitched brilliantly last night, absolutely brilliantly, but it's too much of a gap, and I think we need a co-ace up there or a legitimate number 2, somebody to actually push Garrett Cole. Because when he was with Houston, I got to tell you, what Justin Verlander, that co-ace, that to me, he made Cole better having that guy there. And I would not be afraid to go after Justin Verlander this offseason. I know he's coming back from Tommy John, but you get him on a low salary, high incentive deal, and you bring him here, even if he's long relief, but you add another. First of all, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You get him over here, I think he'd make Cole better. And he would make the other pitchers in the Yankees rotation better. Okay? And so that's something I would definitely be going visiting this offseason. I don't care what anybody says. I would be visiting the potential of bringing in Justin Verlander. So yeah, but could you imagine, or if they somehow got a Berrios and a Taillon Marte, and maybe a Rich Rodriguez, like for the bullpen, because if you happen to move Chapman, you bring in a Rich Rodriguez. There's so much instability now with the bullpen that wasn't there before, especially with Darren O'Day going back on the IL, Justin Wilson and Zach Britton having inconsistency because of injuries. Britton's elite when he's healthy, but he hasn't been healthy for a while now, so we have to consider that. But Rich Rodriguez is an elite major league arm. But being able to move guys like Judge and potentially Voit and Glaber and maybe one of the other relievers, you can even sweeten the pot by adding a Chad Green or a Loizaga to one of these trades. It clears up not only roster spots, but to call up some of these young kids like Trey Ambergay and Park and some other ones. But it also it puts him in a better position to get better prospects to flip to teams like this to then facilitate that deal. So it's something that if I was Brian Cashman, I would be calling all these GMs right now. I would be buying. I would be selling. Okay, do you really want Gleyber Torres? What do you want to give me for it? Can we swap Torres for Luis Castillo? They had the opportunity to do that this offseason. They didn't do it. So, but I would, if I were to revisit that right now, I would do it because they have the ability to move things around on the infield right now to become better defensively and not really lose any offense. So that to me is a win-win for the Yankees. Moving Judge obviously would temporarily hurt short term. It's also a very unpopular move. He's potential captain, he's face of the franchise. I get it. Okay, it's just as unpopular as the Yankees would be trading a Jeter or a Mattingly, right? And it was unpopular when the Red Sox moved Mookie Betts. They hated it, but look at them now. They're fantastic. They're one of the best teams in the American League, if not the best team in the American League. It worked, and the same thing can work for the Yankees, particularly when you can bring a Hall back. I mean, even Alex Verdugo himself, he's not the sexiest of names, but he's been great for the Red Sox. He's a freaking Yankee killer, too. So I think the Yankees can extract that type of package back from Judge. Maybe even if they got 4 really good prospects, they kept 1 or 2, and they shipped off 1 or 2 in a trade for a bigger guy. But there is possibilities here. Could you imagine, if they got Taillon Marte, Luis Castillo, and Rich Rodriguez, or Taillon Marte, Luis Berrios, Jose Berrios, and Rich Rodriguez? Whole new ball game for the Yankees. It completely changes the trajectory of their team. Okay, and that's the type of stuff I would be doing right now. I would not be afraid to be bold. And again, it is possible because we have the sellable pieces, the attractive sellable pieces. Not a boatload of them, but what do you think? Taillon Marte is an attractive sellable piece for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Aaron Judge is an elite player. He's one of the top players in baseball. So, especially offensively, and he's an elite athlete too. Even though he's 9 feet tall and 480 pounds, he's an elite athlete, and he alone can get a haul back for the Yankees, and that's when I'd be taking advantage of it. Again, using that haul, keep some, flip some, bring in what you need. Okay, because they do have Trey Ambergay who can replace Judge for now if they don't bring in another outfielder. Okay, he's crushing the ball in AAA. He deserves an opportunity. Period. Okay, and now we have the new guy from the Diamondbacks. Of course, I'm not. My God, Tim LaCastro. Excuse me. And I think he's bringing another dynamic to the team. Some hustle, some speed. You've already seen that in the last 2 games. So I think he's going to give a little bit of a spark to that lineup as well. But if you were able to move Judge and you get some prospects to bring in some bigger pieces, I'd do it all day over giving him a big contract next year at 31. Let somebody else do that. Okay? That's why the Rays are so good, too. They move on from guys who are 30. That's why, teams like that, the Cardinals, moved on from Pujols at the right time, moved on from... This is where those moves are brilliant. Brilliant. Let somebody else pay that huge contract. Okay? And this is where the Yankees have to not be afraid to be bold. Because they can revamp their lineup. They can add to the bullpen. They can revamp the rotation if they move some of these pieces. But they have to be willing to do it. And that's the thing. You have to be willing to make the temporary, unpopular move to really set themselves up. Taillon Marte's under control until 2025. Brian Reynolds from the Pirates. If you can imagine, flipping some of these prospects for Judge to the Pirates to then get a Brian Reynolds and a Rich Rodriguez, that'd be a blockbuster trade. Okay, That would be a trade I would do any day. I would love Marte, but if you can't, you go for those guys. Even Adam Frazier and Rich Rodriguez, I would be all over that too. It wouldn't cost as much, but that's the whole point of flipping guys. Even if you did a 1-to-1 with Castillo and Torres, okay, 1-to-1, but then you can get prospects for Voit. He's on a team control till 2025. You can get a haul back for Judge. You can get prospects back, or just flip or sweeten the pot with a Loizaga, Chad Green, even though they're elite relievers, okay, and they could be closers and setup guys for the Yankees right now. You move them in the right situations, okay, and then they have some young power arms in the minors that you can call up in the meantime. Okay, they do a good job at developing relief pitchers, not starters, relief pitchers, and these guys are evidence of it. So better than bringing in free agents for the most part. So that's where I think the development is best in the minor league system is relief pitchers. Not so much starters. I mean, I don't remember the last, aside from Andy Pettitte, the last farmhand prospect who actually turned out to have a good career. Andy Pettitte. Can you think of anything else? Luis Severino hasn't put it together yet. He's had one elite season and he's been hurt. So, but this right now, this is the opportunity for the Yankees. This is when they can again do both, be bold, and but it's going to take a big pair of brass balls. Do they have them? I don't know. If they do, why don't you pull them out and use them?